Caitlin Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey. I'm so happy. I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball, period.
She just brings so much passion to the game, and look at all these people that just want to come and see her.
It is no secret that the Indiana Fever are the most popular team in the WNBA. It is good for the entire WNBA.
Once again, history has been made, and you already know who is responsible: Caitlin Clark.
If it was the WNBA, I would have considered a separate television package to a network on just Caitlin Clark games. I would have had two packages, the WNBA package, and then a separate, let's say, 15 to 18 game Caitlin Clark package.
The Indiana Fever are no longer just another WNBA team. They've been formally anointed the top team in the USA. And no, this isn't just media bullshit. This is the fact that the league can no longer deny.
Whether you like the Indiana Fever or not, whether you like Caitlin Clark or not, it has gotten to the point where we can no longer deny the fact that they are the biggest draw in the WNBA, and they proved in the WNBA, and they proved that all of last.
From breaking attendance records to completely filling arenas across the country. Naturally, not everyone is happy with Caitlin Clark's single-handed alteration to the game. The critics are running out of stories and opposing players, and the detractors are frantically trying to find an excuse.
The Atlanta Dream owner said that they were moving venues only because of a scheduling conflict. It wasn't because the Indiana Fever were coming in town. Like, they made up some weird excuse. Boycott watching the Indiana Fever games. You are only doing that if you don't care about anyone else.
Let's just say they're watching their own spotlight fade. But while they show off the Fever Shine 41 out of 44 games on national television, that's not favoritism. Rather, it's simply unquestionable demand. So, buckle up, because today we're going to break down exactly how Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever just took over women's basketball for good. And let's get this straight. This isn't just about Caitlin Clark. It's about a movement that has made the Indiana Fever the most talked about, most watched, and most lucrative team in the WNBA, and the numbers don't lie.
Recent news that 41 out of the 44 Indiana Fever games will be nationally televised. I do not think a lot of people are understanding just how big that is. That is something that the WNBA players, WNBA media, WNBA fans have been begging for so many years.
The Indiana Fever were a struggling team a few years ago, barely making headlines while playing in half-empty arenas and receiving little to no national attention. Fast forward to the present, and they are the league's greatest draw. What changed? From performing in front of a few thousand fans to selling out entire venues both domestically and abroad, Caitlin Clark's Fever.
League wasn't ready for her last year. They just weren't prepared. Yeah. She was prepared.
She's had a full offseason now to rest.
No. She's going to be great. The league just didn't know what to do.
Get the MVP tickets in, just bet them to win the championship. It's fun. And then you get to watch all her games.
6 clubs have had to relocate their home games to larger arenas in order to accommodate the influx of fans eager to watch Clark play, since demand for Indiana Fever games has increased so much. However, let's discuss the true game changer. The national television schedule major networks including ABC, ESPN, CBS, and Prime Video are now airing 41 of the 44 games, giving them greater national exposure than the WNBA champions.
This one blew up. I don't know who this person is, but they said all Caitlin Clark has done is be white.
A lot of people who aren't fans of the Indiana Fever or don't want to see this happening, they're mad about it, but they're also not realizing that all of the other teams will also be on national TV.
Actually, it's the most national TV games any WNBA team has ever had in a single season, and let's face it, the league earned this attention. After all, networks don't air teams on prime-time TV out of altruism. They do so to maximize revenue and viewership. Caitlin Clark and the Fever in Indiana.
Broadcast this season, ooh-wee, big-time doubleheader. Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, they meet in the season opener.
Indiana Fever put this out, all eyes on us.
With such star power on those teams, it's really no surprise they're atop the list for the most games available for you to check out on a national scale.
Caitlin Clark once again dominates WNBA national TV schedule.
The Fever, they lead the league with 41 games here, followed by the Aces 33, the champion Liberty at 32.
41 of our 44 games are on national television, the most television games in franchise history, the most national television games for a single team in WNBA history. I'm sure this is because of Angel Reese.
While detractors like to complain about fairness, the reality is that every single WNBA team is profiting from this. Last season, every Fever game shattered attendance records. A random regular season Fever game attracted over 2.2 million viewers, more than the WNBA championships, which is unprecedented.
These networks are not thinking about hurting feelings. These networks are thinking about how much money can we bring.
Because they get to play against Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, the Chicago Sky, the New York Liberty, and the Las Vegas Aces are all receiving national TV spots. When the Fever play, their opponents receive the most attention they have ever had.
Everyone trying to diminish the wave that was happening, the Clarkonomics that were happening, the Caitlin Clark effect that was happening, and realizing it is not only going to be good for this Indiana Fever team, it's going to be great for everyone. It's going to be great for every single player in the WNBA and also every single team in the WNBA.
While the haters complain about the Fever receiving all the attention, the truth is that Caitlin Clark is carrying the entire league's visibility on her back, and the WNBA is aware of this. For this reason, whether you like her or not, you will watch Caitlin Clark this season, and that's just a fact. If you think Caitlin Clark's influence ends with TV ratings, think again. The WNBA has been fighting for years to gain mainstream attention, filling seats and generating steady revenue. And now, thanks to Caitlin Clark, they're experiencing a financial and cultural boom like never before.
The Liberty and Aces, they're going to clash here 3 times. All 3 of those are on ABC and ESPN. The Fever and the Sky, they meet 5 times. Caitlin Clark, the revamped Fever, they look to build on their success.
There have been 6 teams that have changed venues when the Indiana Fever come to play. All of these arenas are selling out.
Let's start with ticket sales. Prior to Clark, the Indiana Fever were simply another failing team. Now, they're the most sought-after ticket in sports for home games of the previous season. Attracted more than 340,000 fans, a 39% increase over the previous year. That's right, a club that barely managed to draw 880,000 in 2023 experienced a record surge because to a single player, and this isn't just occurring in Indiana.
Sigh, I miss the unrivaled already. They're mad. Caitlin Clark didn't play in that league. They want her out. They want you fans out of the league.
Angel Wilson's talking about sitting out for more money. Meanwhile, the Indiana Fever, hey, we're putting every game on TV for Caitlin Clark. Everybody wants to watch her.
This is the year that they want to do whatever they possibly can to show that they deserve more and also be profitable.
One of the worst WNBA fans and one of CC's biggest haters is already complaining. They don't like the game of basketball at all. They just want to support Reese. I've said the majority of her fans are not hoops fans.
WNBA clubs are currently switching locations. Therefore, when Caitlin Clark visits the area, consider that these teams who are abruptly transferring its biggest games to NBA-sized stadiums after playing in the same tiny arenas for years in order to satisfy demand. Let's take a look at the Chicago Sky moving games to the United Center, home of the Bulls. The Connecticut Sun playing at the storied TD Garden, home of the Celtics. The Dallas Wings moving to the American Airlines Center, where the Mavericks play, and the Atlanta Dream taking over the State Farm Arena, home of the Hawks.
More people are getting on board. More people are watching women's basketball. More people are watching women's college basketball. Do not slow the momentum because of ego.
Caitlin Clark draws massive viewership and other teams don't. Caitlin Clark averaged about 1.2 million viewers per game and the rest of the league about 400 to 500,000.
This isn't an isolated incident. Teams are aware of the Caitlin Clark impact in real time when the Fever strikes. They are holding the largest basketball event of the season, not simply a game. More attendees translate into more money, and more revenue indicates greater strength and profitability. WNBA.
Give me Angel Reese, give me Caitlin Clark, because this has been box office, y'all. The young guns, the young stars have come to play. Angel at Unrivaled, training with Lisa, Leslie, and Caitlin. We all know that girl. She lives, breathes, eats, sleeps in the gym. So I am so excited to see that matchup, those two, because anytime they go up against each other, honestly, the whole world shuts down.
Yep.
Everything shuts down.
Yep.
Then let's discuss sales of products. When a superstar is leading the way, the numbers don't lie. Caitlin Clark's jersey sales are shattering records not only in the WNBA, but in all sports. Last season, her jersey sold more than all of the players in the league combined, and the team is now among the best-selling teams in all of women's sports. Half of the NBA's national TV revenue from the previous season came from Fever games. What is the unifying factor across all of this? The WNBA recorded a 48% rise in league-wide attendance, with more games surpassing the 1 million viewer mark in 2024 than in the preceding 20 years combined. Caitlin Clark.
6 WNBA networks set ratings records this season, all Caitlin Clark. 23 WNBA games drew more than 1 million viewers. Clark played in 20 of them.
The only reason the WNBA is experiencing this level of success is because Caitlin Clark has transformed the league into must-watch TV. She is not only expanding the game, she is redefining it. This is exactly what WNBA players and fans have been demanding for years. More exposure, larger crowds, and higher revenue. Now that it is happening, some people want to act like it's a problem.
The WNBA Draft and All-Star Game demolished their viewership records with Caitlin Clark. The Diana Taurasi Draft drew 600,000. It was the most watched draft ever. Caitlin Clark's draft drew nearly 2.5 million. 374% increase of viewership. Fever quadrupled ticket sales after drafting Clark. Washington and Indiana set the single game attendance record of 20,711 on September 19 Capital One Arena. The WNBA's average attendance last year was 9,807 fans, up 48%. And keep in mind, that was really one person that added those 3,000 fans on average.
Naturally, there will be criticism with all of this success, and if there is one thing that has become abundantly evident, it is that Caitlin Clark's dominance isn't popular with everyone. While fans are packing arenas to see her play, TV networks are making record profits from her appearances, and she is taking the WNBA to new heights. Some people are still doing everything in their power to undermine her.
Caitlin Clark, the Indiana Fever schedule has come out. We now know how many national games they got. The Indiana Fever is America's team, but the old WNBA fans are furious over it. They're mad. They're crying.
However, why are the fabricated rivalries and harsh criticism the true problems here? Let's start with the most evident of these, which are promoted by the media and some players. Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark.
What's killing me is it's the fans that are demanding that these players make more money, but they don't want to support the very player that's causing that money to be made. They can't stand her. We know why. We watched the poor young lady get demolished last year.
Every time these two play one another, the media spins it into a dramatic war. But let's face it, this rivalry is more about off-court drama than genuine basketball. This so-called rivalry has been pushed down everyone's throats since Clark joined the WNBA. While Angel Reese and others continue to find ways to keep the drama going, Caitlin Clark is the one driving it. She is intent on winning, breaking records, and creating history. Alive. Whether it's by disparaging Clark in interviews, like posts that criticize her, or giving the impression that she's an unworthy golden child. But in spite of all the commotion, who is the one making progress on the court? Caitlin Clark.
Indiana Fever is America's team. The haters, by the time this season is over, their heads are going to have exploded already. They're going to be so angry by the end of this WNBA season. It's going to be hilarious watching the daily meltdown.
She can demonstrate her value without resorting to theatrics or trash talk. 2, the she's overhyped argument is that Caitlin Clark is only popular because of the media. Let's take this seriously and break it down. Clark didn't ask for 41 nationally televised games. The works picked her because she attracts viewers. She didn't beg for her jersey to be the WNBA's best-selling player. Her victories and her impact speak for themselves. She didn't push other teams to transfer their games to larger arenas because history fans wanted it, and the demand was just too great to refuse.
Indiana Fever will have more nationally televised games this season than the last 2 WNBA champions. Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever get the most airtime because they're America's team, baby. Deal with it. Slows. Growing the game doesn't mean focusing on one player and her toxic MAGA cult fans. As for Caitlin Clark, the player,
the figures are honest. No athlete in the WNBA's nearly 3 decades of existence, not Diana Taurasi, Candace Parker, or Sue Bird has ever had this kind of influence.
This is the national broadcast schedule against the Sky. It's an ABC broadcast network television game. New York Liberty, it's a CBS game. These are all going to be big rated games. CBS against the Sky, ABC against the Liberty. Here's Asia Wilson right here in the Aces on 622 on ESPN. Right here, ABC, Dallas Wings. All the Indiana Fever versus Sky games are on big networks. One of these games is going to hit 3 million viewers this year.
Clark is not merely riding a wave. She is the wave. Additionally, when male athletes transform their sport, they are hailed. No one criticizes LeBron James for being overhyped for representing the NBA, and no one criticizes Mahomes, Patrick overexposed as the NFL's spokesperson. But when a woman enters the discourse and takes center stage, it becomes problematic. The hypocrisy is unbelievable.
WNBA's attendance had a record-breaking high in 20 years with a total of 2.3 million fans attending games. You know what the increase was from 2024 to 2023 in attendance? 48%. That's massive. That's the Caitlin Clark effect.
Phenomenon, yeah.
If Caitlin Clark gets injured, it's over with. Tom.
Every single one of you WNBA players, you better pray that Caitlin Clark doesn't get injured because she's keeping your league afloat.
3. The unwillingness to recognize her influence. Perhaps the most telling aspect of this is how many people don't give Clark the credit she deserves, despite the fact that she's the reason the WNBA is making more money than ever, that she's responsible for record-breaking ratings, and that she's elevated every player in the league simply by being there. Some people still act as though she's lucky or that the league is forcing her success. Meanwhile, WNBA stars like Angel Ree and Nifa Clyer are out here threatening to sit out the season unless they get paid more. And guess what? They're only in a position to demand more because of Caitlin Clark's impact on revenue. The irony is staggering. At the end of the day, the backlash isn't about basketball. It's not about fairness. It's about ego, jealousy, and an unwillingness to accept reality. Caitlin Clark is the biggest thing to ever happen to the WNBA, and instead of racing it, some people would rather fight it, even if it means hurting the league in the process.
We got an article from Front Office Sports. 6 WNBA teams have moved games versus Caitlin Clark in the Fever. Atlanta Dream moved 1 game to the State Farm Arena. Chicago Sky moved 2 games. Connecticut Sun moved 1 game to TD Garden. Dallas Wings have moved 1 game to American Airlines Center. Las Vegas Aces have moved 1 game, and the Mystics have 2 games moved.
However, the truth is that it makes no difference how much they gripe, how many justifications they offer, or how many stories they attempt to fabricate. There is no denying Caitlin Clark's influence, and whether they like it or not, she is here to stay at this point. Because of Caitlin Clark's unparalleled influence both on and off the court, the Indiana Fever are no longer just another team in the WNBA. They are the league's biggest draw, with sold-out arenas and record-breaking TV ratings. The Fever have officially been crowned the top team in the USA.
Association, they gave us a gym that I paid for. Not entirely, but they took money out of my check and I paid for it.
You better get the fucking full usage of that.
Man, I got hot tub, cold tub, weight room, full court basketball room. I walk in today, I'm on one side working out, Caitlin Clark on the other side.
Really?
I look at myself, there you go, 2 fucking legends, Patty.
Did you say what's up?
You know I say what's up, but I'm not the type to say what's up to interrupt your workout because I don't like people to interrupt mine. She can shoot the shit out of it.
And the WNBA assist leader this past year.
She can shoot the shit out the ball.
She's a great shooter.
And she's one of those workout people, got to think, anytime I hit the court, I got to hit that bike. I'm older now, so I got to get on that bike and stroll for a couple 5, 6, 7 minutes. So while I'm strolling through the park, I'm looking at her shoot it. And she's one of those shooters where if you know as a gym rat, you guys know, like, damn, bro, why you throw that pass bad? Give me the ball in my chest. I'm like, oh, she's a gangster also.
She's lighting people up.
Throw me the ball the way I want it.
What drill was it? What drill was she running?
I don't know. She was doing a 2 in a row corner wing. And if you miss, you have to go back to the next spot. And if you missed again, you have to go back to the starting spot. She had a nice drill. I'm literally still in it.
That's nice.
And she was shooting the shit out of it.
Of course she was.
Right, so she was shooting the shit out of it. And
she's the face of the league.
Agreed.
She's the face of the league. Agreed.
The real question isn't whether Caitlin Clark will continue to dominate. Rather, it's how big this movement will get. And based on what we've seen so far, this is just the beginning. If you're ready to watch Clark and the Fever take over the season, hit that like button. And sure, the critics and haters will continue to complain and look for ways to minimize her success. But guess what? Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Subscribe for more updates, and leave a comment with how many records you believe Caitlin will break next.
Now you got universities trying to defend Angel Reese and make her out as the victim. Newly published study from Rice University and the University of Illinois at Chicago takes a data-driven look at one of the most polarizing sports controversies in recent memory, the Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark debate from the 2023 NCAA Championship. During the title game between LSU and the University of Iowa, Caitlin Clark, the Iowa star guard, made a now famous "you can't see me" hand gesture, a taunt originally popularized by wrestler John Cena. Without much controversy, however, when LSU's Angel Reese made the same gesture towards Clark in the closing moments of the game, the reaction was starkly different. Reese was immediately labeled as classless and unsportsmanlike by some media personalities and fans, sparking a nationwide discussion about double standards in sports, race, and gender. Now a new study quantifies what many already suspected. Public and media reactions to Reese and Clark were not just different, but radicalized. Before, during, and after the game, to unpack the racial dynamics at play, the study found that Clark was largely celebrated. Reese was disproportionately criticized, often with racial undertones. Most influential female athletes right now: Coco Gauff, 10, Juju Watkins, number 9, Cameron Brent, 8, Paige Beckers, number 7, Sabrina Ionescu, number 6, Asia Wilson. So Asia's not going to be happy either. Jakari Richardson was number 4, Simone Biles number 3 right here. I can't quite get past the fact that Simone Biles is behind Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark, she ran away with number 1. I don't think that should surprise us. She came away with number 1. Caitlin Clark is redefining the entire landscape of women's sports. Her dominance on the court has shattered outdated narratives about women's sports, proving that women's basketball can be just as marketable and widely watched as men's. But the Caitlin Clark effect goes far beyond her performance. It's reshaping the entire sports landscape. Her presence alone boosts the WNBA attendance by 105% compared to games without her, while road games featuring her Indiana Fever see an 87% increase in opponent home attendance. Her rookie debut sparked a staggering 200% jump in WNBA viewership, while Fever home games drew a league-high 186,000 fans last season, a 265% increase from 2023.